As we begin tonight, I'd like to scan your faces so that I can turn my little tape in and know that I've had an audience who was very interested in what I have to say. Tonight I am giving an introductory speech for Communications 1010 S4I for Northwestern State University.
Great.
Thank y'all for doing this. Okay, have you ever wondered exactly what is divine intervention? Well, living in a world where the economy is crashing and people are losing their jobs and it seems like money is very scarce, dreams seem to be impossible. I'd like to tell you how I got to this place in life. The God of the universe, the master of the impossible, has orchestrated events that has brought me to this place. My name is Barbara Kemp. I live in Summerfield, Louisiana, and as a child, I came from a small family. I lived in a large city, Fort Worth, Texas. I grew up in a very large school. I graduated with 600 seniors, and I was just intrigued by teachers. My dreams were to marry my Prince Charming, have a large family, move to the country, and teach school. Shortly after I graduated, I married, and 10 years later, I had 4 precious children, and we were living my dream, part of it, in the happily ever after. One summer, we decided to take a small vacation, guess where? Summerfield, Louisiana, to visit friends. Well, on this small vacation, we did a little chilling and relaxing. The guys went fishing, the girls went shopping, and we decided the night before we were to leave to go home to go out and pick muscadines. Well, this was in the back of the schoolyard, and oh my, when I looked over and saw Summerfield High School, I thought, wow, my dream. So I had to go over and check it out. As I walked around the school, I began to send up this prayerful wish, Lord, how I would love for my children to come to a school like this. And so I walked around and I viewed the library and the cafeteria and the auditorium, the classrooms, and it was just like, wow. And I thought, oh, a small community setting would be the best place to raise children. Well, we continued our visit that afternoon, and then the next day, we traveled back home. Well, as you know, the trip, and you may not know, but from Summerfield, Louisiana to where I lived in Boyd, Texas, took 6 hours. So we had lots of time to talk about our dreams. And so my husband and I were talking about change, and we just tossed around the idea, what if we were to move? So we decided to go home and put up a for sale sign in our yard. We agreed that if the house didn't sell in 2 weeks, we weren't turning it over to a realtor, we were just running an ad in the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, that we would just, forget about it. We were just sort of tossing it out there. Well, the first week passed, no phone calls. The second week came, and Monday through Friday, no phone calls. But on Saturday, a couple called, wanted to come out and look at the house. And guess what? They bought it. And they wondered if we could be out by December the 1st. This gave us 5 weeks to make 5 trips to Summerfield, to look for a place to live, to purchase a home, and find a place for our children to settle in. Well, would you say that this was coincidence or divine intervention? Well, here we are, we've moved, we're happy, and life was sweet until all of a sudden, the job that my husband came for, he lost it because he had become ill and he missed that opportunity. So here we were in Summerfield, Louisiana, still happy yet concerned because our children needed to eat. And so I told my husband, I think it's time that I go to work. Well, he had always been, of the opinion that I should be a stay-at-home mom, and I was happy to do that. However, I knew that we needed to do something because during this time he was still recovering, and so there's not a lot of places to look for a job. I went to the little town of Homer and I secured a position in a pharmacy, and there I worked as a clerk and helped do some accounts receivable and put data into the computer, and loved my little job. However, the hours were long. I missed my children. We started early in the mornings. It was late in the afternoons when we got home, and it just didn't seem like the perfect plan. So after 1 year, I walked around the square in Homer, sent up a wishful prayer and said, Lord, I wish we had a place that I could work and still be with my children. Now that sounds like something rather impossible. However, a man from the school board office came in the next day to pay his bill. And I knew him by name, and I said, Mr. Fields, would y'all happen to have any positions available in Summerfield? He said, Miss Kemp, as a matter of fact, we do. He said, if you'll get in contact with the principal there, we need to hire someone soon because we have a workshop in 2 weeks. And I thought, wow. So I went and I called Mr. Kennedy, the principal, and I introduced myself, and he asked me to come in for an interview. Before I hung up the telephone, he said, Miss Kemp, this is amazing to me. He said, your name had already been mentioned to me, and I was going to call you. He said, Miss Kemp, this is divine intervention. Well, now that I have secured a position, teaching reading intervention classes, working with small children, working as a computer lab facilitator, I've even taught some workshops, I've done trainings, and I was with my children 24/7, go to school with them, come home with them, holidays. It's just the perfect setting. But here I am, one day sitting there thinking, I want to go to college. Well, it doesn't get any better than this, so I just sent up a prayerful wish. Can I afford to go to college? No, no money. Don't want to leave my family. My husband said, no, you're not going to commute on the roads at night, so that seems sort of out of the question. Do dreams come true? Yes. When the God of the universe orchestrates your events, they can come true. 3 years ago, another supervisor came in and announced that the school board would pay for our tuition if we'd like to go to school. Well, I thought about it for a little while, thought, the money's taken care of, our children are grown and gone, and guess what? We now have online classes, so I don't have to commute or go anywhere. A friend of mine told me about the CALL program at Northwestern State University. This is where you can take fast track classes. Some are 3 weeks, some are 4, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 16 weeks, whatever suits your schedule. It's for an adult learner, the adult learners. And I can say that for the last 2 years I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I finished my 2-year degree this past year. I've got my 3rd year complete, and at the end of this course will lack 27 hours. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that this was divine intervention. I know that God had a plan for my life, and He intended it to turn out as it has. My dreams have all come true. I'm married, I have a large family, I live in the country, I teach, I love God and life. I wonder, do you have dreams and ambitions, but you don't know how you're going to get to where you're going? Send up a prayerful wish and wait for divine intervention.
Yay!